Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to this live stream. So, what happened is KPLC still did that thing, and we don't have lights. But I'm trying my best to manage the way I can to make sure that you're able to continue the session. So I have a few guests that I'm expecting. So that's what I'm setting up. And then hello, Bito. What's not? Oh, the internet. Yes, yes. It's not because I'm tethering. Is it? Yeah, because I'm tethering. So, and I also am on the phone, and I only have one device. So it's quite difficult. I think it's quite it's quite difficult as opposed to having several, because previously I've been having several devices to be able mhm, to be able to do the live streams. Yes, that's what I mean. Now, yeah, I don't even have power apparently, even on the phone that I'm using. So, thank goodness for power banks. And again, I'm here eating because that seems to be my norm nowadays. I'm going on live when I'm still eating. But anyway, all is well that starts well. Um, okay, so I'll try and manage the way I can. And so welcome all to this live stream. So the topic today, I just wanted us to discuss about, how we can better plan our kids' meal around this holiday season to ensure that they are well served, like they are well balanced nutritionally, and also for kids who are going on the obese side. I don't know whether you've seen those kids who are tending to be a little bit obese, like overweight and obese. not just obese, but they're also overweight. So we need to discuss these things. So we also need to know what foods will work best for the kids over the holiday. What is best for them to eat? How do you plan their snacks and so forth and so on. So hi Fifi, welcome. So I'll be having a series of guests from 9 fellow nutritionists, actually people we were with in campus, who will be joining the discussion just to bring out what? To bring out a stronger sense when it comes to, or a stronger message when it comes to better feeding our kids. So apparently that now, let me see if I can use a different device to add a guest. Because internet with no Wi-Fi sometimes can be really hard. Mm-hmm. Welcome all. I need to check my device settings. Mm-hmm. Welcome. So that works now. Oh, thank goodness, lights are back. That's super good. Super good. So, sometimes can be quite difficult or even more disorienting at such times, especially when the lights are gone. Okay. But I'm glad the lights are back. Let me see, this is so much better. With the lights back on. Okay. Mm-hmm. I do feel now a little bit more settled. Let me just check because my camera doesn't seem to be very clear. Okay, I hope that's better. I just still don't like it as much, but yeah, that's it. So, well, let me start with why is childhood obesity becoming such a big deal nowadays? Number one, it's because of the food that we as parents are cooking or allowing our kids to have. If you allow your kid to, if you're allowing your kid to have junk food at home, and then the same continues to the school, you are placing your kid at a greater risk of developing childhood obesity. So, what is childhood obesity? Childhood obesity basically refers to a state whereby your child's weight exceeds the recommended, like it exceeds what is recommended. Uh, just a minute. Okay, sorry about that. So anyway, welcome back. I hope to be more settled by the time it's hitting 9, because I really need to be settled before it hits 9. Yeah, and I was saying childhood obesity is whereby you find that your child's weight exceeds what is normal for children of that age. Like there's usually a normal, like when they do or when they did a survey, they identified ranges within which a child of a certain age should weigh. So when your child is above that range, we say they are overweight or they are obese. And what happens is we don't use body mass index for children. We use we compare a child's weight to the average of children of that same age. So if your child is between, like, say 8 to 10 years, living in a certain geographical area, and the average age of kids in that area is 8 to 10, maybe it's around 16 kgs, right? 16 or even 20 kgs. But you find that your child is like 21, no, not really. Okay, like 28 or 20 or 30 kgs. That means they are obese. So we don't actually take their height against their weight and use the formula for BMI. We compare their weight in relation to the average in the population average. So hope that's clear. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I need to take just a few minutes to finish. Mm. Okay. Now that lights are back, allow me to I want to join on a different device because it's much more convenient that way. Yeah, but it's more of what I'm used to. Reading through, streaming on the laptop as opposed to my phone, and I think I'll feel more comfortable streaming through the phone, through the laptop. Then I can use my phone to monitor the charts. So that's what I want to do. I just want to change from the phone to the laptop. Yes, to change from the phone to the laptop. And yeah. I'm hoping this discussion will be enlightening to people who have young households. What I mean by young households is you probably have kids who are aged like between 0 to 5 or 0 to 10 years. Yeah. So that's the aim of this conversation. Okay, so okay. Now, um, let me share just. What is these? Let me talk just a little bit. Let me share just for a few what childhood obesity is. Mhm. So, hope now you can see this. So, of course, this is an article written in the States, whereby they report like 19.7% of children are obese, and with a prevalence rate even starting from 2 to 5 years, and then 20% from 6 to 11 years, that's school going children, and then 22% among 12 to 19-year olds. These are adolescents, ideally, right? And then the thing is that it persists, childhood obesity persists even into adulthood. So if a child was or is obese, they're more likely to retain that kind of weight even into even into their adolescence or into their adulthood. So if you find a child is obese from say like 6 years to 11 years, the same weight persists from it persists from the age of 10 years going forward. There's a high likelihood that the same will happen. The same kind of weight will be retained even when that child becomes an adult. So that's the risk factor that we have. That a child who is obese is most likely to retain that weight or that obesity even when they are adults, which means they are likely to develop the adult onset obesity, then and that is much harder to manage or control when you have adult onset obesity, or when you're obese as an adult. Just that's basically what it is. If you're obese as an adult and you have been obese as a child, it is much harder for you to it's much harder for you to manage that obesity as opposed to someone who has just had or has just gained weight over the few years they have been adults. So that's the risk of having an obese child. And I know many parents don't see it coming. We really don't. We kinda feel comfortable having chubby kids, and everyone kinda, when a child is young, like a baby, and they're chubby, everyone loves them. They have chubby cheeks and everything. So we don't tend to see it. We don't tend to see the same when it persists, and this child now is school going, but they are still quite chubby or obese, and it's not going away. There's that weight whereby you're told that this will go away. All right. Sorry about that. So, if a child was chubby during like their age 2 years to 5 years, and they go to school and still the weight does not use it to hypotay. Hi Helen, thank you. Welcome. I have struggled a little bit to set up, especially since the lights were off, but now we are here and we're talking about childhood obesity and how, as parents, we can better plan our kids' meals such that we help them, or we manage, like we do what? We manage to help them avoid childhood obesity, or rather for them to have the best outcomes in life. So, my fellow nutritionists will be joining me as soon as they can. Some are traveling from work and all that. But I contacted a few of my classmates who are practicing nutritionists, and so they'll be jumping in on this call with time. Yes. So I have shared what childhood obesity is. It's whereby your child's weight, or a child's weight, is way above what um you can't hear me. Oh, invite. Helen, you can't hear me. I think audible and clear enough. I don't know, but I think so. So I was saying, childhood obesity is whereby your child's weight is way above the population average. So if they take the population of children in your area aged 6 years to 10 years, and they do an average, and maybe it's around 20 or 22 kgs, but your child weighs 30 something kgs, they will be, sorry, just a minute. Oh, we got a spam. How do I always get this? Mm.
Okay. Right. So, if they take an average weight of children in an area and then they compare that, or they compare that with your child's weight, and your child is way above the normal weight, that is referred to as childhood obesity. And the thing is, if it persists into adolescence and then it continues persisting into adulthood, it's much harder to control or manage it, as opposed to someone whereby somewhere. Oh yeah, sure. um yeah, I did see, nimemwona na tukamblock. Thank you. Hopefully, yes, I have added you as a moderator. Thank you. um Yes, so that's what childhood obesity is. And the problem is, if it persists into adolescence and adulthood, it's much harder to control. So, what do we do as parents in small or young households to manage or to help our children have better outcomes in their childhood and in their adolescence, in their adulthood? Because our parents did a lot for us. We are not necessarily obese, right? We are not necessarily obese because we ate good food. We ate those vegetables, we ate the ugali, the milled ugali, the wholemeal ugali. We what else? We were physically active even as children, like we would go out and play, climb trees, go fetch water, go fetch firewood and all that, because because that was the kind of life that we lived, especially since most of us have grown in the village. That's just a fact. We have grown in the village, and even if we have grown in the urban centers, we still had chores. We still had a more active lifestyle than kids have nowadays. Like the schools where we went to, we had enough time. Oh, not again. uh, Let me see. It's I don't know why. I'm in my corner office. I think I'll get a better location to be having the live stream, so that I can get the best internet speed. But hopefully it's not that bad. Hopefully, Helen, I hope it's not that bad. So, um, I was saying, when we compare our upbringing with the way we are bringing up our own kids, it's quite different. For example, some schools don't even have a play area. Okay, they don't have a big enough play area for the children. So even if they are on break, they don't exercise the way we did. They don't run around with tires or go, climb on something. They are just there in the compound, maybe doing a few things, a few activities, but not as active or actively involved as we were when we were much younger. So that means their physical activity levels are down, and the energy that the body uses is also low, right? I hope that's coming out clear. So we cannot be feeding them on junk food now, especially since their lifestyles are very different from um what we grew up with. Like, I feel it's unfair to be feeding your child on junk food now, especially since they come from school, maybe from 3, they come and sit, maybe do their homework, take a shower and all that, and then they watch the TV. And you want that child to eat chips and sausage and a burger and all that. It really doesn't seem fair to me, because when I compare to what I grew up with, or what some of my friends grew up with, You would come from school, wash your uniform, go fetch some water, prepare dinner and all that. But the thing right now, our kids, since we have house managers, don't get to do all that. You just come, do your homework, maybe take a shower, and that's it. That's something that might take a child less than 30 minutes. And then they settle in front of the TV for several hours, not doing anything that is physically active. And I honestly feel it's not fair to still go ahead and feed that child with something that is high fat. Um, and so that means most of that fat will be retained in their body, and they will keep gaining weight in those tender formative years. By the time they are hitting 8 or 10 years, that child is obese. As in, doesn't seem fair to me. Doesn't seem fair to me. So what's the alternative? Maybe this child's lifestyle might not change. They might not be able to go and play outside that after school, but you as a parent can change what they eat. You can change what they eat once they come back home from school, or even when they are at school. I know there are schools that feed children with French fries and sausages and burgers and all that, and it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. It's okay because for them they prefer it that way. But you as a parent, maybe you, wherever you are watching this, it would be much more beneficial if you would choose healthier meals for your child, and do a meal plan for your child or your household. Do proper meal prep to make sure those things are available in your household, such that it's not snack time and you're thinking, what do we have for snack? Fida, welcome. Just joining the conversation. It took me a while to set up, so we aren't that far into the discussion. So, if you do proper meal planning, you'll find that one, your child is eating much healthier meals and snacks, and two, you are not overspending. Because what happens when that child is now, especially now they're at home, yeah, and they have, say, even they have woken up late, and it's around, they have woken up at around 9, so you're serving them breakfast at 10, and so that means they will not probably have a morning snack. So at lunch, you are here thinking, what do we have for lunch? Because you are not used to it. But you find it will be easier to send that child out to buy something, anything. I don't know. They might go buy biscuits or buy chips or buy something of that sort, because it's much easier. It's prepared, it's ready to eat. That's what I mean. For example, if it's a mandazi or cake, it's already prepared. It doesn't need any prep time. And let me tell you, your child will rarely go to buy at your fruit if they are not used to it. I'm telling you for sure. You give that child 50 bob, they'll go buy chips muitu, or they will go buy mandazi or cake or biscuits if you have not taught them to go for a healthier snack. And people tell me, Jessica, fruits are expensive, vegetables are expensive, healthy snacks are expensive. They are not necessarily expensive. If you give a child, hi for you, welcome. If you give a child, give them how much? 50 shillings, for example, to go get a snack at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. And you tell them, don't buy chips and don't buy mandazi. That child, if you have taught them well, can go buy a banana at 10 bob, and that banana will be filling for a few, say, at a shiba, for maybe that 1 hour or 2 hours before lunch. Yeah. As opposed to not giving this child direction, and they go buy chipumuitu for 30 bob, and within 30 minutes they are hungry again. Within 30 minutes they'll be hungry again and craving something else. So number one, that 50 bob will not last a day. It won't last a day. They will have spent it in less than 2 hours. Yeah, already your 50 shillings has finished, and that was only for one child. Yeah, So if say you had taken the 50 shillings, bought two bananas, a mango maybe for 20 shillings, two bananas for 10, that's 40 shillings, and maybe a passion fruit. And then you came and fixed for them a fruit salad. I'm telling you, that fruit salad for 50 shillings that you make in your home can can serve two or three people, because they're not eating much. You're just presenting them with a snack, serving them a few tablespoons, and you tell them that your snack that's your snack. Children will appreciate it. One, they will eat it with joy, and so they won't notice that they didn't have like some junk food, and they will be fuller for longer. So if you have served your children, say, breakfast at 10, and you serve them a snack at 11:30 with fruits, they are more likely to stay, like, wataka, they will stay up to lunchtime without feeling hungry. And you've only used 50 shillings for their snack, as opposed to if you have 2 to 3 kids in the house and everyone wants 50 shillings to go buy a snack at 11:30, that will be 150 shillings. This is why parents are complaining when children come home. But it's cause, okay, personally I feel it's cause you aren't prepared to have for the child's meals. And so if you do proper meal planning, if you're better placed to plan for your child's holiday meals, it will be easier for you. Even if even if they will eat chips and burgers and sausages and everything, but you had prepped ahead of time. Let's say that this week we'll have sausages for breakfast, we might have some chips for lunch, and so forth and so on. It will be easier for you to go buy a gallon of potatoes, to go buy a full pack of sausages, such that that child will have all their meals, or like 90% of their meals, prepared at home. They won't have to go and eat outside or buy something from outside. I hope you get my point. So that's the idea of meal prepping. So we need our children to have most of their meals at home, such that you can be able to monitor, one, that they are eating healthy, they are eating well balanced meals, and if and where possible, they are not snacking or eating junk foods. All right. I hope that's well understood, such that your child, after the holiday, will not go back to school and then they have gained like so many kilos. Thank you, Helen. They have gained too much weight, and they're not. They will have another transition back to the feeding system, Yashule, because they have been eating so much junk at home, and now they're going back to school, and they have to transition back to what the school has been serving them, especially if they eat gideri and mchele and all that. Then you at home have been telling them to go buy chips, to go buy cakes and biscuits. You are destabilizing them in some way. It would be easier. Think that's awesome for you. It would be easier if you made their meals at home and even made it easy for them to transition back to school. Because 2 months is a long time. 2 months is quite a long time for you to introduce junk for your child. And then you want them, after those number of weeks, you want them to like snap back to the school system. It won't happen. And it in so many ways. If you have joined conversations that I have had with Masimurege, who is a counseling psychologist, you might have heard that food affects the way your brain is operating, or like those signals that your brain will send to your tummy and everywhere are greatly or highly affected by the food you eat. Food controls the hormones, it controls the serotonin, it controls the progesterone and all these other hormones that are involved, one, in mood swings, and but also there's that organ, that small gland in our brain called hypothalamus, not hypothalamus, yeah, hypothalamus, yes, that controls our moods, our intelligence, and all that. So if you are already feeding your child with high fatty foods, uh, and you're making it a habit, it means that you are in one way or the other affecting those organs or those glands in your child's brain. And so they will tend even to be lazier. They'll just feel lazier when they're at home because their bodies are not stimulated to have that level of physical activeness. Yeah. So if what I'm advocating for as a nutritionist is you have better, like much better prepared meals at home for your family or for your kids. And so even after the 2 months holiday, it will be easier for them to transition back to the school feeding system. So that's one thing, for them to transition back easily into the school feeding system. Number two is so that the budget can be lighter on you. For example, when I do a grocery, I do a meal plan and I do a grocery list for a client. Those are hi Irene, welcome. Those meals that I share are they're oh sorry, the ingredients list. Those are things that you can see, like maybe in a week you need fruits worth 500, in you need rice for 1 kg, you need, you know, so forth and so on. It's easy for you to welcome Irene. It's easy for you to do what? It's easy for you to budget for that week or for that month because you know exactly what. Oh, she had a premiere. I will rewatch as well, Irene. I will rewatch. Um, Lobito, welcome back. You are among the first ones here. Welcome back. So it will be easier for you to budget for your family, your household's meals when you have a meal plan, you have a grocery list of what you need, the ingredients you need per week. It will be easier for you to even shop. All right. And this doesn't negate that you have to do like a holiday celebration kind of meals. You guys, most of us here, we share recipes. We know celebratory recipes where you're having pilau or you're having chicken biryani or you're having different kinds of cake. You're having different kinds of cake and all that. That's okay because these meals are at home. And even if you are going out several days during this festive season, you are still conscious of what you are going to eat. If you are going to shags, go there and influence the meals that are being made, but not okay. Yes, influence if you can. Even shags, me, I don't care. By the way, shags, most of the foods that we'll eat are okay for that season because especially if kids are in shags, they are way more active than when they are here at home with us. So if their cousins meeting, like that I know hasn't changed because my I have nieces and nephews and they are super active when they are at home. Ah, all right. I know they are super active when they are at home during the holidays. Yeah, they will go play. They will go harvest. Hi, Ima. Ima, welcome. Yeah, this is the first time you have landed here. Happy to see you and welcome. Hmm. Welcome. We're discussing meals or food for our kids during this holiday season or festive season, and I know even not necessarily in Kenya, but even internationally, most schools are out. It's the holiday season. So I was saying, if your child is going to shags or your children are going to shags, I'm not so concerned about their meals because I can assure you that whatever they'll be eating will be well utilized. It will be well utilized. Another thing is that they are more physically active when they are in the shags or in the rural setup as opposed to when they are in the it's okay. It's okay, Irene. You go and come back. I've actually missed several since 9. There was someone who was, you were premiering, someone else was premiering, but I will rewatch once I'm done with this. Also, time is moving really fast. I'm hoping my guests should be here. Yeah. Here also as well, Ima. Kids are writing their exam this week and like over the next 2 weeks. But after that, they will close for okay. Some kids, that is grade 6, grade 8, and form fours, they are doing their exams. They are writing their exams. But all the other classes are now home, and they will be home for 2 months because they closed around 23rd of November. That is last week, and they will resume around 23rd of January. So that's a good 2 months at home. We need to plan their meals. We need to know what they will be eating during the day, and also still save our coins because economy is bad. We don't have that much. What do we call it? Money in circulation. We need to control food budget in our households. Keep these kids happy and keep them healthy, such that as they resume school, they won't be experiencing weight gain or childhood obesity, and they won't have damaged our pockets that much. Yeah, we won't be having a 10K food budget every week because kids want to eat all the junk foods that are available. uh, right. Okay. Thank you. So that's about meal prepping and all that. So let's talk a little bit about proteins. Let's talk a little bit about proteins because the kinds of proteins that we give our kids with the disguise that or under the disguise that they are growing and they need proteins is way above what is required. And then the other thing is that the kind of proteins that we give, if they are not plant proteins, they contain a lot of fat. So there's this book that has become like my what, that one, my main book. It's called Health Power. Of course you are seeing it in reverse, but it's written with you can see the cover. It's written with uh, Africans in mind. Okay, of course, most of the facts or most of the information is still, the research is still done in has still been done. It's okay, Helen. Thank you so much for helping me moderate and keep the live chat well managed. Thank you so much, Helen. So this book is written with an African perspective, and it helps um, me to get a better understanding of some factors that affects us as Africans, as opposed to a Western kind of um, guidebook for nutrition. Because most of the research, honestly, has been done in the West, but very few writers have written with an African perspective. And I'm hoping to be one of the writers who writes with an African perspective very soon on matters nutrition. So, what I wanted to talk about is about proteins. If your child is not feeding on plant proteins, things like beans, different kinds of legumes, nuts, what else? What are the other things that give proteins? Even some vegetables, lots of vegetables, the green leafy vegetables. Just a minute. I will let me pin your comment, and then oh, my Wi-Fi is back to misbehaving. Okay, so the amount of protein that your child needs is not as much as we have been led to believe. We tend to be, yes, we tend to think that we need a lot of protein for, because our children are growing, and it's right. Proteins are the bodybuilding part of the diet or the food that we eat, but we don't need as much of them. Yeah. The other thing, we get protein from legumes. We get proteins from things like nuts, ground nuts, peanuts, and all that. We also get proteins from green leafy vegetables. So we don't necessarily have to feed our kids on animal proteins. And this one might quasar a lot of people. It might rub you the wrong way for many people. And what I want to talk about is animal proteins. So yes, just before I do that, let me read Lobito's comment. She says, "There's so many advantages in the village because the more kids eat, the more active they become, and because there are more activities they run in the that run in the village during the festive season. That's for sure. That's for sure. And in the village, let me tell you one thing, the child might not farm, but they might help to harvest. They might help their grandparents to like clean the compound and all that, to fetch water, to collect something from somewhere, to go to the shop. And the good thing, especially if they are in a crowd or in a group, they will go running. They will. It is a cheerful environment. They tend to use a lot of the energy from the food they consume. So you will rarely find a child who is in the village becoming obese. I don't think I've seen a child in the village who is obese unless they are really genetically predisposed to become obese. That can happen and it happens. But normally, if a child is not genetically predisposed and they are eating just fine, in the shags or in the village, in the rural settings, they are more likely to be fit. They'll just be fit, and they're not likely to experience childhood obesity. So, childhood obesity is something that has been noted in urban and peri-urban areas, areas around Nairobi, even Kisumu. Kisumu not as much though, but Mombasa, around these urban areas, urban centers, is where most children have been noted to be experiencing what? To be experiencing childhood obesity or to be a bit obese and chubby. Not the chubby that is adorable, by the way. The chubbiness where now you see this child is high, they don't look nice. They don't look nice. And I pity them, by the way. I try to help myself, but I pity kids who are obese because I know it will persist. It will persist and it will be hard. It will be hard on their self-esteem. It will be hard in so many ways. Foyi says mostly in Mombasa. Yes, Mombasa again is just a city with a different dynamics because their lifestyle is mostly relaxed, and then they love deep fried foods, and then they are not active. They are not active. I don't know if it's because of the weather or whatever, but they are not active. So if that child is in a household whereby they are eating the mahamri, the viazi karais, the deep fried things, the pilaus with a lot of meat and the chicken biryani and rice and all that, they are most likely to gain weight between the age of 6 to 10, and then it can persist between again it can persist between the age of 11 or 12 up to 19 years. And I'm telling you, if that weight persists, it's hard to get rid of it. It's hard because one, you have changed your genes. Your cells are used to a lot of fat. They are used to a lot of cholesterol in circulation. So they have made allowance for that cholesterol to be stored in them all around them as the body cells. Yeah. You understand? Like if you see a cell, if I don't know how can I explain, I can demonstrate this, but say this is the body cell. It's already used to having a lot of cholesterol floating around it. It's already used to having it's already the cell has learned a way to store the oil or the extra cholesterol to you are already changing your genetics by the eating junk food or highly eating foods that are high in fat. All right. So, coming back to the issue of proteins, I've said your child or we can get enough proteins from plants. Those are legumes, vegetables, nuts, and all the like. Yeah. Now let's talk about animal proteins. Which are these animal proteins? One of my friends, whom we have actually gone. We have actually done we have done what? We have done a live stream with her. She's called Linda. Linda is she's a herbalist. She's a herbalist and a psychologist. She has specialty in so many areas. So she emphasized that I mentioned this about animal proteins. About this is milk, meat, eggs. What are the pork? All the kind the all the different kinds of animal proteins that are out there. Yes, Lobito. Let's continue discouraging junk foods in the household and even outside. Um, huh, let me share something. Yes, we should highly discourage junk foods. When I was doing my internship, I did my internship in a hospital. The first one I did it in a hospital, and this particular day on this particular day I got clients in the office who are obese and on the onset of getting diabetes. It's a condition called prediabetes, where your blood sugars are becoming too high, and you are likely to develop high blood glucose, which is called diabetes. Now these two parents, both of them were obese, and they came with their child who was around 5 or 6 years. Yeah, she a girl. And so we talked for more than 30 minutes. We talked for more than 30 minutes. And I'm advising these parents to avoid high fat food, high protein foods, because at that time they were eating a lot of animal proteins, and to do more vegetables, more water, more fruits, and all that. Yeah. And now, after having that conversation, we go, welcome back, Helen. We break for lunch, and we had a hospital canteen. And so they proceed before me to the hospital canteen. So they order before me. And do you know what they ordered? They ordered fried chicken, chips, and soda. All three of them, the father, the mother, and the child. The child had an adult size of fries, adult size chicken, and half-liter soda. And I looked at them. I actually asked them, like, after that whole discussion, you guys, honestly, and there are other options. You can have rice with beans. You can even have rice with meat. You can have mokimo. Like the hospital canteen had so many options, it pained my heart. I was like, what? Even after spending my 30 minutes consulting with you guys, and you have paid for my consultation, but you still go and buy the foods that we have just talked about that we should be avoiding. And even for the child, there's no way they will change their dietary habits, because the parents are the ones who dictate what that a child who is less than 10 years, you are the one who dictates what they eat. Honestly, there's nothing to eat. You are the one who is dictating what your child is eating. So don't come and tell me, oh, I can't control what my kid eats. Like, really? You can definitely control what your child eats. If they are used to junk, win them off slowly. Don't just say, "Oh, this month you're not doing junk." We If they are used to junk every day, and I'm sorry to be calling these foods junk because they are filling and they weren't necessarily meant to be junk. They were a quick snack, like buying chips. If you are really hungry and you feel you need something to eat that is quick and readily available, chips is a good option. Mandazi is a good option. A slice of cake is a good option, but not on a daily basis. If when eaten with moderation, you can't necessarily call them junk, but we tend to overeat them because they are convenient, and they also there's a way they affect the brain such that it will keep asking for those foods, because the cholesterol stimulates the release of hormones, those feel good hormones. Okay, so that's why we keep craving them. That's why we keep feeling that I need more of what I had yesterday. And when that happens, and you can control how often you're eating these foods, now I can refer to them as junk. So yeah, that scenario, it didn't hurt me, it just got me thinking. Oh, I can't get hurt because really these are just clients who just happen to come by my office. So it just got me thinking. Okay, and I understood them eventually, because it's hard for you to just snap and change your dietary habits. So if they were used to chips, chicken and soda, even subconsciously, maybe they did it subconsciously. It's what they have just been used to eating if they are not out inside the house. Or if, yeah, if they're outside the house, hmm, they probably were used to eating chips, chicken and soda. So I hope that eventually, I didn't see them again, those clients, but I hope that eventually they were able to adjust their dietary habits. So for such people, say like your child has been used to eating junk more than, well, like every day. Let's start by doing this. Reduce that to 3 times a day. 3 times a week. Yeah, from 7 to 3 or from 7 to 5. So this means those, if they have been asking for money to go and buy snacks on a daily basis, do it this way. 2 days in that week, make sure there is another snack in the house. I will respond to you, Helen, in a few. If they have been buying snacks outside, uh, say 6 days a week, because I'm assuming one day you probably go out with them and maybe eat some place outside. So if they have been asking for money to buy snacks 6 days a week, reduce that to 4 or 3 times. That means you make sure there's some homemade snack. It could even be mandazi, it could be cake, it could be fruit salad, it could be a juice, anything. So 2 days a week, make sure there's a snack that that child can eat, and they don't necessarily have to go out and buy something. Then the next week, increase that to 4 days in that week. Then the next week, you can just make sure every snack that child is eating is available or has been made at home. Okay, so it's a progress, but that has to be done within 21 days, within 3 weeks. You have to make those changes within 21 days so that your brain can, one, acknowledge what you are trying to do and accept it. Because if you just do it once, your brain does not even notice. It's like, Leo, we didn't eat junk, but I know tomorrow we'll still eat junk. Okay, so try it over a period of 21 days. All right, Helen is asking, do you advocate for for a child eating food with spices? Foods with spices are okay as far as they don't affect the child's they don't cause a heartburn, or they don't cause the child to have not nausea. What do we call it? GAD. Um, they don't have any acid reflux. So if it's not causing the child any trouble, it's okay. And children really get used to spices quite quickly. Like Indian children will start eating spices that are hotter than I can eat now. When they are around age of 3, age of 5, they will start eating spices, and they are used to it for the rest of their lives. So it depends. If the spices don't affect the child, they don't cause a heartburn, they don't cause a reflux, it's okay. But if you realize that, oh, gas, they don't cause gas as well, and bloating, it's okay. But if you realize that whenever you use a certain spice, your child is affected, kindly eliminate it from your pantry. I did talk recently. I don't know what I was cooking, and I said the spices that we use. For example, if the food that my baby will have, and he's almost 5, we use paprika. He's okay with paprika. We'll use turmeric, the ginger, garlic, of course. What else? We can use the masalas. He's okay with any masala, but we can't use chili. We can't use black pepper. We can't use There are some which are hotter, um, for a child, and some which are mild and okay. So for us, we have found in terms of sour or chili spices, paprika is the farthest we can go in terms of spices that are sour. But garlic and ginger and turmeric, he can easily use those. And then all the masalas, the pilau masala, the fish masala, and all that. And then he's okay with tomato paste, the store bought one, and yeah, tomato paste, dark soy. Those ones are okay, but the hot spices we don't add them to food. Then the other thing is what? Or is that we have introduced him to seeds and nuts. So he eats chia seeds quite comfortably. He doesn't even notice them. He takes black seeds in his cereals. Again, he rarely notices them. Uh, of course, you have seen that I use flax whenever possible, whether it's cookies or cakes. I use flax. What other seed? He eats like as many of the things that we use in this house. And then he also really loves nuts. He loves cashew nuts. He loves granola, the bars and the loose. He also eats almonds, not so much. So we rarely have almonds. Yeah, a 2 year olds can take chia seeds, Helen. um what else? Yeah, so I find that like most of all these other things, the concoctions, he takes the bee propolis. We add it to his cereals again. Bee propolis is a what? It's like an antihistamine. You see how you get a blockage because of cold, or you're almost developing a blockage, a nasal blockage because of cold. We use bee propolis for that. Let me type that out. Mm, propolis, congestion. Yeah. So all these things that we have found to be working for us, we have also introduced them to our baby, and even shared that out to our friends who acknowledge what we do. So because not everyone, by the way, acknowledges what we do. Some people are still like, "He's only my miti shamba. We don't do miti shamba. If my child is sick, I'll still buy him zinaitwa nini hizo dawa za homa from the chemist." But we have learned over time to use our own product, the products that we are selling, to help our baby with his one, with boosting his immunity, also with dealing with flu, especially when it's flu season in school. Because even if I feel his immunity has improved over the last 1 year, like since COVID, his immunity has really improved. But you still find when it's flu season in school, he will have a mild flu, or yeah, whatever that one. Okay, let me read a few of your comments. Helen is asking, mm, Helen, if you have ulcers yourself, and of course, me, I advocate for household meals. Like if you're cooking for your baby, separate food, do it up to some age, and then just win them into the family meals. So if the family meals don't have spices, you don't have to add them. Why should you add them anyway? Um, just continue avoiding the spices that aggravate your ulcers. Also, find the solutions for your ulcers. Using something like dill seeds, using there are some solutions that help with ulcers. Um, let me see if I can drop my contact. Should I? Yeah, but why not? since it's already on the on YouTube anyway, in our description boxes and everything. Um, and then and then oh, there's a WhatsApp group. Let me see if I can get the link whereby um what is it called? Whereby you can join and ask questions on Thursdays. Not every day though. I on Thursdays. Yes, this WhatsApp group. On Thursdays we have open discussion. Like I open it up for people to ask questions related to nutrition. Yes, so if you're interested, you can join that. You can join us. Um, hmm. Yes, I answered. A 2-year-old can take chia seeds. They can take flax. They can take deal. They can take all these things, of course, in moderation. There are quantities that they should take. Or if they're having a smoothie, a family smoothie, well and good, and you had put chia or you had put moringa, well and good. As far as you are not, I already said it's very hard for a child to overdose on herbal products first and foremost. And the worst that can happen is probably they will just have some diarrhea because there's too much of a certain product in their system. So, but anywho, of course, they should be used in the right quantities and with moderation. All right. Yes, 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 yes. Then Helen is saying, I had issues in my first pregnancy. I developed high blood pressure. Does it mean it will be the same in my second pregnancy? What nutrition would you recommend for that? Um, I would need to understand why you developed the high blood pressure in the first place. Was it due to the environment you are in? Were you a little bit tense about your pregnancy and the outcome of your pregnancy and all that? Because, and also, did it lead to um what do we call it, did it lead to you having to be scheduled for surgery, or are you still able to go through normal delivery? And no, it doesn't mean that you'll have the same complication in your second pregnancy. Every pregnancy journey is different, it's unique, and you can't predict how it will be. It is always different, it is always different. um yeah, like my this pregnancy for me is quite different from what it was in from what my first pregnancy was. I was sharing the other day, it is so different, you wouldn't believe it. And into to the extent even my feet are swelling. I didn't experience that in my first pregnancy, and so many other things. Is the oh, can't Kate, why not? Unless you are my guest. So, okay, let me see. I need to add you on the stream. Oh, my guests are starting to arrive. So let me add them. Mhm. So, wow, it's already 10. Yeah, it can develop. You can develop a high blood pressure towards your last semester because, oh, I actually have several guests. Because let me just a minute. You can develop. Where is the an echo? Okay, let me just.
Can she repeat the
Welcome,
question,
Kate.
please? Can she repeat the question, please?
Yes, I will repeat it just a little bit.
Mm.
I can actually just copy it on our
Yes.
side
How
of
the
the
did
chat, and then just click on the comments. You are chatting on the private chat. If you can click on the comments, you will see them coming in. Okay, but this is the question. She has had a stream of questions, but she was asking, I had issues in my first pregnancy and developed high blood pressure. Does it mean it will be the same? Oh dear, did you drop? No. Just a bit. Have to put her back. Hmm. So it can develop in your third trimester, Helen. I've also experienced quite some changes, quite some changes in my last trimester. You wouldn't believe it. So uh, nothing is ever predictable. You can't predict. You can't predict what will happen. Why is there an echo? Just let me try and do this. You can predict the outcomes of a pregnancy based on the first one.
Maybe I can assist there.
Yeah, go ahead, Kate.
About the blood pressure in pregnancy. Mostly, it's an issue. It's called the preeclampsia.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly, it's diagnosed after 20 weeks. Before 20 weeks of gestation, it is not. But after 20 weeks, if you are diagnosed with it, most likely in your subsequent pregnancies, you might have it. So that's why, let's say if the first pregnancy you had it, it's very good they screen you for the second pregnancy so that the management can start earlier.
Okay.
It is quite common.
Or the management of the hypertension.
In pregnancy. The
Mm-hmm.
preeclampsia is quite, nowadays it is it's so often. Nowadays I'm at Pumwani. You find
Yeah.
like those are mothers who need to be seen by a gynecologist
Mm.
after 20 weeks. Yeah, their test which should be done, and maybe for the nutrition part, maybe you should just discourage the use of salt. You minimize on salt use.
Mm.
Salt. They use the
You
fat diet. The fat diet, the one
tell them
for
what
fruit.
fat means.
Yeah,
You
a
told
lot
her.
of fruits, a
Yeah.
lot of veggies. Then you
Mm-hmm.
reduce on the animal proteins because of that saturated fats.
Yeah. I was actually getting to that part of animal proteins and then
Yeah.
containing too much fat because I hope there's no echo. Helen, if there's an echo, kindly just let me know. I was about to get to that part. Is it that I'm having? I don't want to have an echo. I wanted this to go as easy as and as smooth as possible. Uh, Kate, go ahead. Just a
Uh-huh.
few minutes. I need to give this device to someone else. Can you see the comments now, Kate?
Yes, I saw.
All right. I'll be back.
Mm. So what happens is that in the second pregnancy, the chances of having that high blood pressure is very high, and mostly you find the BPs will be reading above 140 over 90. So for the best outcomes, the goal of management is to have a blood pressure below 140 for the higher one, for the numerator, and for the denominator at least have a BP of below 90, because the high blood pressures, the outcome, what they cause, they will cause the mother to start like having conversions, and that they may end up killing a baby, the fetus, because the fetus is not getting enough blood because the blood pressure is very high. So there are drugs, there are medications which are used to manage that. So it's very good you start with your clinics with a gynecologist if you have such. But now your diet will really help. Where maybe you should have the BMI should be good before you get pregnant. At least have a normal BMI of that's 18 to 25 to lower the risks. But that is something you cannot control because we say there's a genetic predisposition. If you have a sister or a family member who had it, or you had it in your previous pregnancies, you may have it, not necessarily because of your diet. It's because of the pregnancy, the hormones. The hormones, it's like they are toxic to the body. Now the body reacts by having the high blood pressures. It is just a condition which comes as a result of pregnancy.
That's
I
right.
hope
So
I hope I am clear.
preeclampsia, yeah, preeclampsia at times is not predictable.
Yeah,
But if you have had a history of it, there's a higher likelihood that it can reoccur. That's for sure.
yeah.
So yeah, that happens. Thank you, Kate, for joining us. Maybe you can introduce yourself, tell us what you're doing currently. And before you do that, we studied with Kate Nyagodhi Gitonga, sorry. Kate
Yes.
Nyagodhi Gitonga. We studied with her at University of Nairobi, undergrad in what, in food science and nutrition, and then she
Yeah.
went ahead and did what, Kate, in nursing.
Nurse,
What?
nursing and midwifery.
Eh?
Registered nurse and midwifery.
She went ahead and did registered nurse and that one midwifery.
Yeah.
You finished, yeah, or not yet?
Yeah. No. I'm almost, studying with family. Right now,
Yeah.
that's why I'm in dark mode because I have
Mm.
twins and one has slept, but the other one is still breastfeeding here.
Ah,
So that's
it's
why.
okay. All right. Do you have? Did you brand yourself, or you still go by Kate Getonga on your social medias, or you branded yourself?
I've not branded myself. I'm just Kate Gitonga.
Yes. So she's Kate Getonga on. She actually has a YouTube channel, right? Yes.
Yes, yes.
She has a YouTube channel, and you can still check her out on Facebook and Instagram, I believe.
Yeah, Instagram, though I'm not that active. Nowadays, I have a very busy schedule, but
Uh,
soon I'll be back. But on YouTube, it's Kate Gitonga, the dietitian.
Kit Gitonga, the dietitian, and what else did I want to say about Kit? Uh, I have forgotten. If I remember,
Maybe.
I will say. Oh, yeah, tell us, what are you doing currently at Pumwani? Even as you consult and learn and raise your family.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe mostly what I'm doing is I'm studying. I
Hmm.
had a break of like 1 year,
Mm.
pregnancy issues.
So you're like
The-
you're practicing, you're like interning
yeah,
in
yeah.
terms of the
Right,
nursing
right,
course.
right now I'm at the MCH.
Mm.
Maybe
Wait,
January
don't
I'll
use
be.
abbreviations. Able tell us
Oh,
what that means.
sorry. I'll be at the clinic where the pregnant mothers come and the young children for vaccinations, and where the pregnant women come. Then
Mm,
I've also done some rotations at the labor ward, the deliveries, giving birth.
mm.
Yeah, like I'm a
Yeah,
midwife.
so if you guys visit Pumwani, you can look for Kate. She's there at the
Yeah, I'm
moment.
there at the
Mm.
moment.
For you and Helen, thank you, and like the video and share kindly. Let other people in your communities know that we are having this live. Actually, by the way, I've joined people's live and they always wait to hit 10 people. I am not of that mini mindset. Me, I go live because this thing will be recorded and someone can always rewatch. But in the meanwhile, if you can share us out, it will be really beneficial in your community. Tuone kama watu watafika 10 hivi wenye wata benefit from this conversation. So Kate, I was just uh-huh. Yeah, she said she's yes, she's at the MCH. Did you say MCH or ANC? Kate,
Maternal child, it's maternal child health.
Yes, at the
Yeah,
MCH.
yeah.
Mm. Right. Yeah. I was talking about animal proteins and why we don't need as much of them as we think.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because the reason being, they have a lot of fat. Like and meat, beef has a lot of fat in it. Chicken the same, pork the same. Sausages, these are already processed, so they already have a lot of fat in them. So if you are used to eating lots of them, it means that you're also consuming a lot of fat, and animal fat is not good. Remember when I talked about cooking oil, and I was talking about liquid oil that is clear, that is derived from plants, and the other oil or cooking fat that is solid and whitish and derived from animals. The one derived from animals has a lot of cholesterol, and cholesterol tends to accumulate in your body, causing all these issues, cardiovascular issues, hypertension or high blood pressure, causing all those issues that are related to lifestyle, including obesity. So, animal proteins, we really should limit them. And yeah, I was saying my friend Linda TG, is very, very particular about animal proteins, but then she discourages consumption of animal proteins, even for children. Her reason being, thank you so much, Helen, for sharing. Her reason being, because that's about milk. She says we are the only mammals that take milk from another mammal after we have even stopped. Like we are no longer children, we are no longer neonates, we are no longer neonatal. Like we are more than 24 months old, but we are still taking milk from another mammal. Like it doesn't make sense. It's okay. It's okay, Helen. Unaona hata Kate analalisha mtoto. But the reason why I'm so relaxed today is because my baby is in shags. He is in his at his shosho's place. So our household is quiet and quite relaxed. Yes, anywho, I was saying we are the only mammals that continue taking another mammal's milk past the 24 months mark. Like bado tunakunywa maziwa ya ng'ombe, we are still drinking cow milk and all these milks that are still quite high in cholesterol, if I can say so. And we continue with that pattern even into our adulthood. And it's not that milk is bad, but if we take a lot of it, it will definitely affect our health outcomes. And that's why, as Kate is saying, even for managing hypertension or high blood pressure, you should binge or limit the animal proteins that you're having. So if it's milk, meat, eggs, what else is an animal protein? Meat, even chicken, even white meat, every kind of meat, you limit that. And then you ensure that you're taking more vegetables and fruits. That's the whole idea of a fad diet. So, what else did I want to say? Yes, basically, we really, really should limit on animal proteins, even for children. So, and Kate can attest. Whenever you do a meal plan, we do a meal plan. Animal proteins will appear maybe 2 or 3 times in a week. That means maybe you have beef one day, then chicken the other day, and what else? Maybe, yes, you have 3 times. You have it 3 times in a week. Just the same way that we don't eat eggs every day. We eat eggs 2 to 3 times in a week. 1 or 2 eggs 2 to 3 times in a week. That's a known fact. I don't know why we still go ahead and serve ourselves with or with you're having your breakfast has an egg, it has sausage, and what else? Baked beans are okay, but having on your plate and you have two or three proteins at once, animal proteins, makes no sense. Makes extremely no sense at all. Like, you should basically just do away with uh having you just remove that extra, we need extra animal protein from your plate. Have an egg today, a sausage tomorrow. It is not a problem, but don't have them all at once. I know it's fancy, but it really beats the purpose of, you don't need that much protein. Actually, Kate will tell you, and I will attest, that you only need 30 grams. 30 grams is the size. I think it's our teacher who showed us the size. This size of your, this palm size, is all you need of animal proteins in a day. That's everything, everything. Milk, meat, everything of animal proteins that you should have should be that size of your palm. That's very little. 30 grams is very little, but we tend to eat more than 100 grams, sometimes going up to 200 grams of animal proteins, which really doesn't help our bodies, especially since most of those animal proteins have a lot of cholesterol. All right, my guest is here. Now I can catch my breath and get to the comment section. So, Kate, what do you have to say about consumption of animal proteins in relation specifically to childhood
Mhm.
obesity, and even the same obesity persisting into adulthood?
Mhm. Maybe you have said almost everything, but I can't like lack something to say.
Mm,
Mostly for the animal proteins,
mhm,
uh, we have also the type of the protein, and also the
mhm,
mode of preparation is very important, so that you can get the like the whole nutritional value you want. Like you see, we have said it's like in 24 hours, it's like
mm.
30 to 40 grams. Like a matchbox is enough for animal protein. Matchbox of the
Try and tell our parents that the size of animal proteins they should eat is the size of a matchbox, and you'll have a very big fight.
it's like for the sausages. We have worked in food processing companies. We know that sausage is not like protein. It has a
Mm,
lot of starch, the cornstarch, then a lot of
and fat.
saturated fats. The fat
Yeah.
and the starch.
Mm,
The protein part is very minimal. It's like 10% of protein. Then the other part is the additives. Then
mm-hmm. That's why we
we
keep craving them again and again.
yes, the additives and the likes of sodium nitrite, which in the long run
Preservatives.
they bring the cancer.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I really don't even encourage the consumption of the sausages and the smokies. But maybe if you compare, the sausage is better than smoky
Yeah,
for
it's much
some
better. It's
for
much
some
better. I did
areas.
work there, so I can tell. I can tell you for sure. I would just better have a sausage.
Yeah,
It's
than
than
than a
a
smoky.
smoky. Mm,
So another issue with those proteins is that they have a lot of added salt. We know the issue of salt, sodium with hypertension
mm,
and water retention. So you will also have like a lot of weight because you retain a lot of water because of that added salt.
that's
Then
right.
on the type of proteins, the superior quality is the white meats like
Mm.
the chicken, and you go for the legs because they have less fat.
Oh, I didn't even
The
know that. As
yeah,
compared to what?
the like the breast.
Oh, yeah, sure, sure, sure,
You
sure.
see, because the leg, it's muscles, it's the walking, the exercise. So mostly
Mm,
there is no fat on the legs. The
mm,
thighs, that is the thighs, than the
mm.
breast. Then
But
maybe
again, not
you
the current broilers have a lot of. They still have a lot of fat even on the thighs. But if you get the kienyeji ones or the ones that are not so chubby, well
You
and
can
good.
just skin and remove the fat. It's below the skin. You
Mm,
just remove the skin. You remove the skin. You eat the muscle part.
mm,
Then go for the lean meat if you have to.
mm,
It's better as compared to the fatty one. Then the mode of cooking for like fish when you deep fry, and that's the mode mostly used by everyone. You end up destroying the omega 3 and omega 6 because of the
oh,
high. Yeah, you destroy because of the high levels of the heat.
you should get back and show us how to cook fish the right way, because I
Yeah,
feel like most of us here, we deep fry our fish. Even the ones who are sharing recipes on wet fry and all these things, we mostly deep fry. So that means we are losing all the omega fats and the omega oils from the fish. So get back here and do for us one recipe on how to cook fish without deep frying it necessarily.
yeah, the high temperatures with the oil you're using, you convert the omega 3 to the trans fats. Yani you change the way the structure of
Mm.
that fat to become, now
Oh,
it
yeah.
becomes the bad fat because of the high
Mm,
temperatures. The smoking temperature. You see the fish, for it to cook in the oil, you need the smoking temperatures. That's what people do. But I think baking is better.
mhm.
Then there's a way my mom will prepare it in the shags, and I love it.
Bring us that recipe. Get back to YouTube. Or I
I
come to your
will.
place and we do that. We should
Yeah,
use it.
I will. Yeah, like
Mm.
the fish on the way, you even don't know the source, if it's from the
Mm.
oceans
And how
or the
and
one
how
they,
someone will tell you that
yeah.
they are snacking on healthy things because they bought fish balls as they were coming from work and not chocolate or cake. But it's well and good, but really at times it defeats the purpose if it was deep fried in oil that is already hey, Tabby is here. Oh my goodness, all my classmates are here today. uh, Hi Tabby, welcome. Let me finish what I was saying with Kate and then I will introduce you. So yeah, you find someone feeling so good because they ate fish balls, but they don't know what kind of oil was used or what necessarily made that fish ball, and they have lost all the omega oils in it. But it's a snack. It's an effort in the right direction. But as Kate is saying, we really should know how to make the to cook the fish the right way. Go ahead, Kate. Sorry.
Mhm. The source of the fish, because also of the contamination from the heavy metals.
Mm,
Uh-huh. In the at Pumani, I've come to realize that there are so many. There's an increase in number of the congenital anomalies of
mm.
the newborn babies. Nowadays, it's like it's obvious.
Explain what that
The
means.
what that means is that babies are born with some issues. Like you find like their heart has issues. There's a hole in the heart. A baby has maybe, what do I say now? There are some
Spinal
issues
bifida. Their
yeah,
spinal cord has not formed properly.
yes. Mostly you find issues with the heart,
Mm-hmm.
issues with the way the baby looks, maybe the
Mm,
deformed facial structures, the ears, the nose, and the brain.
mm,
Also, you find some issues with the limbs, the way they were formed. Nowadays,
mm,
in a day, you will not miss like several babies with those issues born with.
mm.
So most of them, I think, they're attributed to the nutrition, the mother's
Yeah,
nutrition. Most you'll find people telling you they eat a lot of fish. Maybe they don't know where the source of fish comes from. I think that's an area of study we need to explore, why the issues are on the rise. There's so much.
yeah.
So
It's a research that we can do. Tabi, I want to introduce you. You can rename yourself, and is it rename? But you can include your brand. Um, yes, so that whenever someone watches this, they can look for you online or your brand on Facebook and everything. So we have been joined by Tabitha Odera. She was also my classmate at the University of Nairobi, and yeah, we successfully graduated with our bachelor's in food science and nutrition, and she went ahead to do into private consultancy, and her consultancy is called Triple Life Diet Center. You can check that out on Facebook. Tabi, I'm not sure whether you are active on Instagram and YouTube, but let me write that out. It's Triple Life Diet Center. I know on Facebook for sure. Um, yes, and she goes by Tabitha Odera. So, Tabi, welcome. We are talking about childhood obesity and how we can better manage that for our kids, because we are the it's now us. I can't believe that we are now the parents who ought to be what? To be conscious what our kids are eating and everything. So yeah, Tabi, we have just concluded talking about. We were discussing about, yes. Now that's better. We were discussing about proteins and how we should reduce the amount of animal proteins we're having in our own diets and in our child's diet as well. And is it for Imaina was saying in the chat section that one of her child or children is allergic to protein, so they don't consume them in their house, and they rarely take animal proteins, and that's okay to be sorry, it's okay for you not to have animal proteins in your household. The idea being, you can get all your proteins from plants and vegetables. I once met with a professor from JQuat. I'm forgetting her name, but she co-authored a book on African traditional vegetables, the amaranth, the the managu, the African nightshade, the murenda, the saga, and all that. And for her, she said the reason why she got into that line is because she was highly allergic to all kinds of proteins, of animal proteins, eggs, milk, everything. And so her mother, from a young age, just fed her on those African traditional vegetables. And over time, the mother realized that actually this baby girl is doing much better than the rest of my kids who are used to taking animal proteins. So she kept up that diet throughout her life. I will check. I have that her book somewhere in this house. I'll check her name. I can't remember, but they have co-authored a book on African traditional vegetables. So it's okay for you and your household to just be taking plant proteins, nuts, and all that. So, Toby, I don't know whether you have any contribution on consumption of animal proteins and the fact that, one, they are high in cholesterol, and what your advice would be for young households, because we feel it's fancy to have sausages on our plates. And I also have sausages. I have a hot dog once in a while, but there's need to moderate the amount of animal proteins that we have. So, Tabi, you can unmute and go ahead. Thank you for joining us. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. I don't know why. You mhm. check check on the settings on your page. Then go to audio and make sure the headset is the one that is receiving your is the one that is transmitting your audio. You know whether that makes sense. StreamYard is an interesting platform, but it's not that hard to use. And the good thing it is streams on YouTube, and we can easily moderate the panel. So try again, Tabi, maybe if you have been able to look into that. As on your screen, click on settings and then check that your audio is coming from your headset. The mic, the mic should be from your headset as well as the speaker. If you're able to do that, and alternatively, you can just disconnect your headset and use your computer audio. Now I think we can hear you now. Okay, try again. No, we still can't hear you. And Kate seems to be falling. Oh, her device. I think now, Toby, we can hear you. Although I can hear myself through your device. Is that's not right. But go ahead, go ahead. Just I can hear some input from your end. I don't know why we can't hear your voice though. Aya, ongeza volume sasa. You need to shout a little bit. Helen, thank you so much. Blessed night as well. Bye. You can catch up from here. I think we are almost at the 2 hour mark. You can check it tomorrow once it uploads. Bye. Okay, go ahead, Tabi. We can hear you from very, very far. Alternatively, we can wait for you to switch to your phone. If you can just use your phone as well. Because I see Katie's on her phone. And I had actually started this live stream on my phone. So the phone would work just as well. Click on the link, just follow the same steps and join the studio. And we will drop you from this one. Is that okay? All right. Just leave from your laptop and then join through your phone. All right, so that was Tabitha. Even if we have had a lot of technical issues, but I believe she'll be back. And yes, and I believe she'll be back, and we'll have. Yes, she'll be back, and we'll be able to continue with this discussion. So that's about proteins. Now we can look at just slightly at like what's the issue with us consuming milk, because I know they are one of my panelists, Linda Teach. She hasn't been able to join us yet, but she's very, very keen about the kind of milk that we eat. Yes, welcome back, Tabitha. And she actually advocates for us to take goat milk. I'm not sure the reason behind that, but She says that we are the only mammals that actually continue drinking other mammals' milk even beyond our 24 months. And she strongly believes that we should not we shouldn't be taking animal milk, that we should rather opt for plant-based milk like almond milk and sijui what else. There are other alternatives to animal milk, but we do know that they are expensive. But she says goat milk is available in most supermarket outlets, and we can access it. I don't know what my co-hosts feel about this, about not consuming milk, first of all, and if we do consume it, that it should be either goat milk or camel milk and not necessarily cow milk, which is high in cholesterol. Yes. Maybe you can pick it from there. Or, first of all, you can introduce yourself. I must have left something when I was introducing you. So go ahead.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jessica. I hope now I'm audible enough.
You are.
Oh, thank you. Well, my name is Tabitha Odera. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist, and I'm the co-founder of Triple Life Diet Center. Jessica is my classmate. Kate is my classmate. We all went to the University of Nairobi, Pamoja. And thank you so much for joining in. We are so happy, and we are happy to share the knowledge that we have. And now back to you, Jessica, on the question regarding animal protein. All right. Well, my thoughts around it are okay. Animal protein, much as they're high in fat, and we really do encourage people to limit the intake of animal protein because of the high levels of saturated fat. I wouldn't say like we stop consuming them completely, because also like the intake of meals varies in families. However, if you face absurd allergies or reactions with animal proteins, it's a better way of avoiding them completely, and go for other substitutes. And some of the substitutes are the plant-based protein. And where do we get these plant-based proteins? Of course, we talked of amaranth. Amarantha is very high in protein. And also there's this mboga, mrenda. I don't know whether you know mrenda. It's also yeah, it's also high in protein, but not really like high in protein as amaranth is. It's also high in protein, but not
Sorry, my network
all right.
was off for me there. But yeah, I have actually the facts about amaranth is that it has 15% of it is protein, 15% of it might be
Protein.
fat, and 70% of it is carbohydrates. So amaranth is a very good source. Oh, this is my reference
Of
book.
protein.
It's a very good source of protein. Yes.
Though it does not supersede the animal protein or even other sources of protein, plant-based protein. Only that we are trying to say like we could adopt, or rather we could like eat more of those, because much as the amaranth got protein, got starch, carbs, and even fat of a bit of it, you'll find out that it's also like rich in antioxidants, rich in vitamins. Like it is diverse, it is so versatile. However, we should not eliminate like the animal protein completely in our diet, unless you are facing allergies, you're facing any detrimental effects that could affect your life, or even like your nutritional outcomes. Then my thoughts again around animal protein, now that we are talking about child-based obesity, we are so particular with our children. What happens at such a tender age when you notice like your child is reacting to animal protein? You could try other alternatives. Of course, other alternatives could be like almond, cashew nuts, beans. But again, you find like some of these alternatives that we talk about, the nuts, they are so expensive, so pocket friendly.
Yeah.
So what do we do? What we don't know is like in Africa, we are so blessed with so many things. We don't have to go the exotic way. We don't have to go the exotic way every now and then. If your pocket allows, well and good. But if your pocket does not allow, what are the other alternatives? There's soybeans. I know that there's a lot of contradictions or other controversies surrounding soybean, the soy product. You could have the soybean. We have different recipes to make it nice, to make it palatable, and to make it appealing to the child, so the child can opt for that. Others we've talked about amaranth, and also there are other type of beans like the butternut beans. We have the chickpea. We have the black beans. We have the how is that one called? There's this thing. Mbona inapotea?
The kamande and
the kamande itself is well prepared. Those are like some sources of high protein foods that we can opt to incorporate in our diet, and they are so satisfying. Acha njugu. I'm forgetting about njugu. Simsim. Yeah, simsim. Those are, in fact, simsim. It's affordable, and by the children love simsim so much. You see, in a situation where a child does not take the animal protein or the child reacts to the animal protein, simsim is so loaded with good protein and also massive in unsaturated fat, the good fat that you're really looking for. And one thing with simsim, by the way, it's very hard for a child to be allergic to it. Yes. Yeah, I think that's one I can point out because it's affordable, it's readily available also, and you can easily fix it for the children to take. Yes. So, and again, when you embrace the plant-based protein earlier in the family, or rather if you enforce it in your family, a healthy eating habit, when the children are still young, you'll realize that they'll never walk out of it. They will carry it on, and they'll adapt it. And that is how we'll even avoid some of the non-communicable diseases. That is a threat, not only to our nation, but it's a threat globally. So I think I'm of the same sentiments, Jessica, regarding the introducing plant-based proteins earlier enough when the children at an early stage, and also in the family, and introducing early enough and even embracing the intake. And we are not really saying like you don't eat the animal protein so much, but we are trying like you limit tupunguze tu at least once a week. Okay, I always encourage people to take at least once a week one type of animal protein because of the issues that we've addressed. They're high in fat, and in this case, saturated fat. Then another thing with animal protein, it's like if you I did not this one going back into science, the metabolism around it, and even so many things. And like mnyama ni kama sisi. You see the way as human beings, like you, there are so many hidden diseases in us that we don't really know. It's the same case with animals. So again, now you'll be treating two things at the same time. You get an infection from an animal that is not treated, and I know some people will argue like the meat is tasted, the meat is good to eat, and every other thing. But ni kama tu sisi, I feel like an animal is just like us, and so it takes a lot of we should have some little bit of mercy on them. But again, we are not saying that you don't eat absolutely, but you limit. Then another important thing that I really want to bring across concerning cured meats. If I say cured meats, that's I'm talking about smokies, sausages, bacons, cheese, so many other things. And
Yeah.
these cured meats, most of the time, they are highly refined. Then you see they've used other additives to add value into them. And if you take, for example, sausages, there's salt into it, there are mono
Starch. Mono.
starch and
Yeah. Mono.
monosodium.
MSG. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
MSG. Let me use that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
And the
MSG, the
nitrites to
thickening
preserve it.
agent. Exactly. And now
Yeah.
some of these additives that have been used to add value into them, they are not, okay, they are good to our appetite and will make you to want to eat more and more, like you become an
I think
addict.
they also do something to our brains such that we keep craving
Exactly.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, you keep craving for them. Now you
Mm,
eat one, you want to do one another, and that's why kids tend to love them so much.
mm,
But again, that's
mm,
why we are saying like you should limit the intake, or rather, like you admit, if you can avoid completely. Yes, and especially for the kids also, if we can avoid completely, so that we can just enforce the healthy eating habit in them.
mm.
Yes, those cured meats, they're not good for us. They're also like cause a lot of inflammation in our
Mm,
bodies, and that
that's right.
is eventually you're sick, mtoto ako na sinuses, you're wondering what's wrong with this child at an earlier age, but it's because of a lot of ice creams, huh?
Mm,
Sweets, candies, confectionaries. Over time mtoto ako na sinuses, kuna tonsils, you're like what's up? And most of these children at times you get like they're obese or rather overweight, then
mm,
again there's an infection because there's a lot of inflammation in their body. So if we
that's
try to avoid such, especially the keyword meats, I've talked about them, and now that you're talking about protein, we should just limit, or if better off like we avoid completely. Mm,
that's true.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, so actually Kate had mentioned about sausages and smokies and
Mm,
ham and all those cured meats, and she I think I am I am favored, if I can say so, to have worked at Farmer's Choice and have
oh
seen
yeah.
the whole process that goes into those processed meats. And I think recently, not recently, because okay, it was a while back, but they are now required to declare how much meat content is in their products, because it's
Mm,
not even 50%. It's not 50% meat in a sausage. It's not 50%. It's even less than 20 in a smoky. And I hope they don't come after me, but it's just a fact, because they have to use cornstarch to hold the meat together.
mm,
They have to use other additives, a lot of spices, a lot of animal fat to hold that meat together. And again, the MSG, monosodium glutamate, and the preservatives in the nitrites that are used, whose long-term use again is bad for us, and a lot of salts
mm,
again, which are still not good for us. So those cured meats, really, in as much as we find them fancy and we want to introduce them to our kids because we feel like we didn't have them when we were younger, it really really should be a one time, like a once in a week or once in a
mm,
fortnight, not a daily
mhm,
thing. It's better you have an egg, and better off to go for a kienyeji egg if you can, or a free range kind of chicken egg, if you can, um, as opposed to going for the processed meats or the cured meats. And I know, you remember, Tabi, how hard it was when we were talking about knowledge, attitude, and practices in school,
Mm-hmm.
and these practices are
mm,
now persisting in the
Mm.
community or in our society, whereby us, our generation, I can't believe it's now our generation we are talking about. Our generation now feels like it's fancy to have
It's
our
fancy to
kids,
do things.
yeah, to
Mm.
eat smokies and sausages. And so even that kid, when you are walking on the street and they want a snack, they will go for a sausage as opposed to a fruit. I
Yeah.
really wish and advocate that at some point we'll be able to have our kids ask us for an orange or an apple or
Mm.
a watermelon
Mm.
slice as opposed to a sausage or a smoky. Like, I really wish
Mm.
I could see that transformation here, like here in the stage, at the stage. I would see one or two kids asking, "Mommy, can I have an apple?" as opposed to one
Mm.
crying for a sausage or
Or a sausage.
yeah,
Or a
yeah. So,
pizza or a bacon or
or a burger.
whatever.
Like even when we go out for those Sunday lunch and dinners, it's much better if we could have our kids just eat a fancy dish. Maybe it is something like chicken biryani or something fancy, but it still has
Mm.
value to eat. It's not a burger, it's not a KFC chicken that is deep fried in sijui what kind of oil, and I should stop mentioning brands.
In oil that has been reused over and over again. You remember the
Yeah,
rancidity, the way the oil alters, then it's denatured and it's become like all unhealthy for every
mm,
other person. And yeah, that is what we are
mm,
feeding our kids
mm.
with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and we are making them think that that we are making them think that that's fancy, whereby really it's there's nothing to eat. There's nothing to those deep fried chicken and stuff. Really, we should we should be opting to go back to the ndomas and guashes. Anyhow,
Mm.
Tabi, maybe just tell us a little bit of how should a parent plan their child's meals to make sure that they are going on a more on they're leaning more into the healthy side. Like just in a typical day, you can highlight it, and then in a few minutes we'll just end this broadcast and be able to catch a shut eye.
All right, all right. Thank you so much, Jessica. And
Mm,
a typical meal plan for a child. And this one, okay, though children, we are talking of children who are, I think 2 years
mm,
from no 1 year. Let me take 1 year to 5 years because that is when like a child is already eating like any other family member. So in a typical day, I think we have the minimum meals that a child should eat. I think four, not I think four, should be four. At
mm,
least four, if possible five. That's inclusive of breakfast, lunch, supper with two snacks for every child. And
mm,
now, if it is breakfast, I'm just going to give like an example of a 1 day example, and
mm,
this should uh, this should be borrowed for every other day. So basically, we are talking of meals. We should consider like diversified foods. We should pick meals from every other food group. Uh, from every other food group. And now we have starches, we have legumes, we have a list of food groups. Jessica, I will not mention all the food groups.
yeah,
Hope
it's
you'll
okay.
just get a PDF document so that they can download, or I could share also
Yeah.
a free food guide with them. Now,
Oh,
for example, your breakfast, what do you include in your kids' diet? Let's take, for example, we have okay, bread. Let me just take bread. Then
mm,
bread is a starch, or rather carbohydrate, energy
carbohydrate.
giving.
Mm,
Yeah. Then I discourage toasting of bread somehow, and I
uh,
encourage going for whole bread. Why do I
yeah.
discourage toasting of bread? because you see there's that crust that has been formed, brown, whatever. Then it's also like kind of brings a lot of craving. That is what the child will want to eat over and over again. So it's more like you've altered like the whole carbohydrate structure or something. So I really discourage, though it's nice to them. So just have like a bread. If you have a spread, you spread. Then you can go this with one egg boiled. I highly prefer boiled egg, but of course some children don't love boiled eggs, so you could fry for them. Then with a fruit, it could be an apple, it could be a banana, it could be something. Then that will go along with a cup of tea. That's one example of a breakfast. Another example could be just porridge. Then this porridge, you enrich it with nuts or peanut butter. These nuts you could do sim. Yeah, sesame. You could enrich it with sim or even cashew nuts. I'd say cashew nuts. If you can afford, yeah, why deny the children? It's very healthy and very, very nice to the mouth. Then with dried fruit, you could enrich it with that. Then you give the child to eat. And also with porridge, you could also fortify it with is it enriching or fortifying? Kuongeza mafuta. It could be salad, not you can just add 1 teaspoon or tablespoon. Yeah, you enrich it with fat, the good fat in this case. Then you give the child to drink. That's I've given like 3 examples of how your breakfast could be. Then if we say like the child took the breakfast at 8 or at 7, you could wait for 3 hours or 2, between 2 to 3 hours, then give a snack. Then now this snack, what can a child have? In a typical African home, it could be like the porridge that remained. It's okay. Give the child that porridge. If there was milk somewhere, give the child that milk. If you have a banana, give the child that banana. Whichever type of fruit that is there, give the child that fruit. Then we come for lunch. Lunch is any other meal as long as you consider all the food groups. Could be rice, beans, and what?
Avocado.
And cabbage. Or even avocado. Because there we consider there's a fruit there, there's a starch source there, or rather carbohydrates, energy giving, and we have a protein, which is beans there. It could be beans, it could be lentils, it could be kamande, it could be like all those other plant-based proteins that we talked about. Then you give the child. What you must make sure that it is complete. Lazima ikuwe mchele, dengu, cabbage, ama na carrots, ama na spinach, ama na avocado, any other thing. Then again you allow for 2 hours or 3 hours. Ikifika hapo saa 10 or between 3 to 4, give the child a snack. And a snack could be anything that remained. You don't have to break apart. Yeah, could be an egg, could be nuts, anything that you have, nuts, the sim that you mentioned, whatever is in the house. If it's a pancake, if it's a mandazi one, but again, you go low on wheat also, because it's something that we can talk about in another session, but you give also in moderation. Then supper will be any other meal, just like it will borrow the same composition as the lunch. Could be ugali, beans or meats, though you limit the intake of meat, animal product, with mboga. Then now that's how like a typical meal should be for a child. Should be at least four meals in a day, and the frequency also between 2 to 3 hours for every child, because we realize that children are so active, they play so much, their metabolism is so high, so they tend to digest food very fast, and within some time there's nothing in their stomach, so they need to to eat over and over again. Then what else did I wanted to say? But what if the child, like, of course, if you borrow this routine, of course, considering all the foods in all food groups and giving the child the foods with the right portions, um, of course, we are going to, this child is not going to be obese. Some people will say
That's
it's
right.
in the gene, it's in the gene, it's genetically inherited or something. But most researchers have evidenced that only 5%, much as it is genetically inherited, but some of these things we can avoid through
Mm-hmm.
modifying our diets, what we eat, through
Mm-hmm.
watching what we eat. Now, if you just leave the child to eat anyhow, the way genetically you've been eating, of course, it's going to be a vicious cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So we have
Yeah.
to enforce this healthy eating in the family. So if you borrow that, of course, if you feed the child with the 5 meals, healthy meals, not the
Mm.
sausages that we're talking about, this child is going to turn out to be a healthy child. So basically, that's how a meal plan for every other child should be.
Mm.
Yes.
Thank
Mm.
you so
I'll
much.
share a food guide with you people.
A what? Sorry.
A food guide, just to see
Uh,
how you can fix a meal plan for
I
the
will
child.
remind you. Yeah, I will remind you that then
Kindly.
we can attach it here.
Mm,
I can upload it on
mm,
Google and we can attach it on the
sure.
description of this video. So I will remind you.
Mm,
Let me just type it out so that we don't forget. So that was Tabitha Odera, and she has shared with us a typical day's meal plan for a child. And as you have heard, you just need to, okay, depending on the age of your child, the frequency of them or the number of meals they eat um, changes or is dependent on that. But also you need to plan, or rather, yes, you need to plan for your kids meals and your kids snacks. So if they are having a fruit, make sure it's available by having it bought
mm,
and washed and placed at an accessible place. If they're having if you need to enrich the porridge with nuts or peanut butter or some oil, olive oil or any other kind of oil, make sure it's available. And also try and teach these things to your house managers such that they are not
mm,
struggling to enrich your child's food or to best to serve your child food that is healthy. So you need to teach your child, you need to teach your house manager that we are having healthy meals and this is how we're gonna manage it. This is how we're gonna do it. Make sure the child eats this at 10. Make sure the child eats this at 1 or at lunchtime, at 4 p.m. snack at supper. And also, this is how you prepare it. You don't put too much oil. You don't put too much
mm,
salt in the food. Make sure the child is having enough water. Make sure they are if there's a fruit juice they can take, it's available and readily accessible so that your child will achieve the optimal nutrition and growth goals that we are all targeting. And also after the holidays they'll be able to transition back very easily into the school feeding programs, because definitely kids don't eat the same when they are at home and when they are at school. But we need them to enjoy the festivities, but also be able to still not gain weight, not gain the excess weight, and still be energetic enough to carry on their activities wherever they are spending the holidays. So it's a balance, but it's something that you need to be very conscious and very intentional about, such that at the end of it, it will give you the desired outcome, or you will have the desired outcome, which is a healthy child. And if your child is already obese or overweight, you help them to manage it. I was troubled when okay, not really, but it was disturbing to have a client who was, I think, 13 years, weighing 100 plus kgs, and you're trying to manage this child's weight. And I can tell you for sure, it's really, really hard to manage childhood obesity, or even like that has persisted into adolescence or to adulthood. So let's curb or cut the problem at the root or at the base at as early as possible, so that we are able to have a healthier generation, because this is what we all want. We want our children to be as healthy as we were at their at you know we didn't grow with obesity. We didn't suffer all these issues because our parents, in one way or the other, were able to feed us with good food. Whether it for whatever, let's not talk about the reasons why we didn't have sausages and smokies and burgers. It could have been economical constraints, but let's not feel that because now we are empowered economically, we and let's not spoil our children's future because we are empowered economically. Yes, that's my message. Let's not spoil our children's future because we feel we are empowered economically and we can now afford the sausages and everything. Let's try to moderate or guide their diet such that they will have as optimal health outcomes as we have had. Yes, so I will allow Tabby to sign off, remind us her name, where she practices, what she's doing currently, and then we will end the broadcast. Thank you, everyone who has joined us. We have had people coming in and leaving. Lobito, Roslyn, we had Fui, we had Helen. We had a couple of us. My husband was supporting us at John Esther, and we had quite a number of people joining us. So I will allow Tabitha to sign off, remind us her social media handles and everything, so that we can follow her. And I will include her contact information in the description once this video has uploaded properly on YouTube. Yes, go ahead, Chabi. Oh, she must have pressed the wrong button because she left. Um, she left, and okay, I'll have to conclude this because the my other device is not here. I'm not sure if I can add her back to the call. But what I can do is just wrap it up. So we had Tabitha Adhiambo Odera on the call, who is a registered dietitian and nutritionist. She was my classmate at the University of Nairobi, and she now practices as the co-founder of Triple Life Triple Life Diet Center, and so she's a consultant as well, and she's available for consultations in the morning, very early in the morning, as she told me. You can you can book a session with her, and she will be able to offer you the guidance or the consultancy that you may require. We also had Kate Nyagodie Getonga, who is also a registered dietitian and nutritionist. She's also a registered nurse and practicing midwife. You can find her mainly at Pumwani Hospital. Yes, Pumwani Hospital in the maternal child MCH section, I think, or in the labor wards, as she's a practicing midwife. And yeah, those are the panelists that I had for today's session, as were discussing childhood obesity and how to plan the meals for your children during this festive season, what to avoid, what to do more of. Um, during this season. And I we did highlight reducing the amount of animal proteins that you consume in your household. Even if children are growing and they require more proteins, we need to eat the right kind of proteins. We need to eat the right kind of fats and oils where needed, and we need to be really conscious of what goes into our bodies, because as the saying goes, garbage in, garbage out. If you eat food that is highly refined, the outcome will show, and this will show more mainly in accumulated body weight or increased body weight and other complications that might come, such as reduced immunity, frequent infections, and all that. And you will be at a bigger risk to develop lifestyle diseases such as cardiovascular diseases, these diseases of the heart and the blood vessels, including hypertension or high blood pressure. You are at risk, or you're predisposed to getting diabetes. You're predisposed to getting what? Arthritis, problems with your liver or your kidneys, just because of the diet that you're consuming on a day-to-day basis. So I thank you. If you are watching this live stream at a later date, thank you so much for joining in. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, kindly subscribe, watch, leave us a comment, tell us how do you manage your diet or dietary patterns, dietary habits during the festive season or the holiday season. For you as an individual, for your children, have you advised your parents on what to avoid or what to have more of? And how are you just going to plan around these holiday seasons for your child's meal? Oh yeah, we had Ima from Nigeria who also joined us, told us the kids there are also sitting their exams, but I think they will also be on the long break, which is a couple of weeks even after they have written their exams. So thank you so much for joining us. Uh, Today is Tuesday, so we might do another live stream on Thursday or Friday, depending. We do live streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then we have a video upload every Monday and Tuesday that is focused around food, around information or information dissemination, and around lifestyle. So those are the things that we talk about on this channel, Malkia Nutrition. Yeah, you can check out Kate's channel at Kate Gitonga on YouTube, or you can follow her on Facebook and Insta. For Tabitha, you can check her out at Triple Life Diet Center or Tabitha Odera on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thank you so much for joining me for this live stream. I can't believe you have gone for this long. I'm not feeling so tired, but I know I should rest because tomorrow I have a busy day. And yeah, I appreciate you all for being here. So bye bye. I'm just gonna end the broadcast here, and I appreciate you all for being here.